increasingly bombarded with weight loss plans as summer approaches, but today we're focusing on a different type of transformation that one expert says will leave you stronger and more courageous than any diet could.
Yeah, well, joining us now to talk more about it and share a down-to-business approach to making big and small changes in life, Dr. Krystal Conner, Master Life Coach and host of the How to Be a Dangerous Woman podcast. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you both. Thanks so much for having me on.
You know, you flip through social media and we're hearing people talk about external appearance, and a lot of people neglect the internal. So why is it sometimes to work on the physical a lot easier than we work on our mindset?
You know, if you think about it, when we go to the gym, we expect to see change, and that kind of encourages us to just really work on that physical, because there's this tangible, visible outcome that we can see that we don't see when we start working on our mindset. And we just find that more appealing when you can actually see the change versus having to wait for a change. And the mindset makeover requires that you might have to visit some things from the past, whereas when you want to go to the gym, you just go to the gym. You don't have to dig up old thoughts and feelings. So it's just more appealing, and it feels, believe it or not, easier to do that than it does to do the mindset work.
I have to admit, it does sound kind of daunting. So changing your mindset may seem like a huge undertaking. So where would you suggest someone even begin?
It begins with really understanding what you're thinking. A lot of times we don't pay attention to our thoughts because we're so busy and we're just going throughout the day. But when you start to really listen to what you're saying to yourself, what you believe about yourself, that is where you have to start. And then it takes you beginning to challenge things that you believed about yourself to be true. Things that you believe to be true about who you are, about what's possible for you. The makeover starts when you start to attack those one by one and question if they're even valid, if they're even true, if you want to change them. And then just beginning to visualize and see yourself in a different way.
All right, so let's talk about it. The makeover, as you said, requires us to change things up a bit. So let's talk about some of the things to add in or to avoid in order to get that makeover of the mindset.
All right, so we want to add in boundaries. Everybody loves talking about boundaries. We want to add in really strong, solid boundaries around how you are spending your time, who you're spending your time with, who you're allowing into your space. We want to stop the comparison, because that rarely adds to positive growth. We want to eliminate toxic positivity. Of course, we all like to think positive, and that's great, but we also have to acknowledge that everything's not always positive. And so creating this false sense of everything's okay all the time ends up stunting your growth in the long run. And then, of course, we want to try to cultivate courage, which means doing things that make you uncomfortable. Those are the best things that you can do in order to grow and become the best version of yourself.
All right. Sounds like you can do it step by step. Dr. Krystal, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Always a pleasure. And for more inspiring tips, you can go to Dr. Krystal's website or follow her on TikTok or Instagram. You see it right there on your screen.